Let's move forward and welcome on the stage our another speakers, Mr. Sumit Gupta, CEO from Asset Plus Consulting. Everyone give it applause for him.
Thank you. This beautiful event organized by Aayera, this SMS third edition. And I know sessions after lunch are pretty heavy, both as part of the beautiful food at Surya. And we are also get a little bit of slumber, but let me just try to keep this discussion little interesting. And what I'm going to put, can you just put the slides? I will only share a case study which is first of its kind in India, done on smart metering project. And this is, I want to give a little background about it so that you are able to understand what this particular initiative is. Now, as we all know, the ambitious project of RDSS, which has been under the umbrella of our Honorable Prime Minister, looking at trying to bring the AT&C loss reductions at DISCOM levels, bring it down to 12 to 14%. And under that initiative, the idea was when we get these meters which have been installed, what happened next on that? Are we going to have an RAP, DRP, or are we going to want to transform and make it a something different part of it? Now, my background is I come from a consulting world, friends. I've been with A.T. Kearney and PricewaterhouseCoopers for a donkey number of years. And I've seen the utilities, transformations, and felt where the pain are. And then when I felt that pain, I said I should come back and give to the utility. And that's where the Asset Plus was born. And Asset Plus work on the part of data which the utilities provide. Am I audible to the last? Yeah? Okay. So the data which the utility generates, how we can add up plus a benefit to those data. And be it an environment, because we know the smart meters will be installed in the phases till next 10 years. But till that time, how and what way will my utility get a benefit of an environment which will have smart meters, which will also have a non-smart meters, which could be AMR, non-AMR, or electromagnetic. And that's we find in various DISCOMs as we go around entire country. Somewhere there are certain part of initiative. And we did this. This Powerthon was an initiative called up by the Ministry of Power to look at adoption of AI and machine learning use cases within this RDSS paradigm. And when they looked at, there were almost around 500 entities which participated in this particular, all startups and established players. And from there were 8 people were selected out, which we are one of them, to do the AT&C loss reduction for state of Rajasthan, my dear friends. And what I'm going to present to you is the story of a place called Bayana in Bharatpur, a very live case, still is practically outputs are being achieved and they have been using it. Now, these were the use cases which ministry identified as a part of Powerthon and to be looked upon. And the primary was the part of AT&C loss reduction because that was the important aspect of work which was supposed to be done. Now, as I mentioned about the objective of AT&C loss reduction, which has been defined by the initiative which has been all this coming out with meters installation happening across all the states. We know the state of Bihar and state of Assam has already gone ahead with that. They have got this meters installed, the outcomes are driving. And so that also certain scheme from PFC and REC, the certain states have gone on for adoption of meters. But what happened next? I hear stories, I don't want to name them. The smart meters have been installed, nothing is happening because some parties done the work half, some parties not done the work half. And that's where we went on to do resurgence at the part of Bayana. Bayana is a place in Bharatpur. It's on the, maybe you'll try to look around. And it's 48K consumers are there, out of which 8,000 consumers were on smart meters. Remaining were all the part of rural. And this actually looks around part of a real India. If we talk about India, it does not reside in the part of cities. This was India we talk about, this mix of rural and urban perspective. And then when we look at part of AT&C loss reduction, only at the part of smart meters where they were, it was 37%. When you look at part of only on the urban, 49%. Very high, massive. And probably Bansal Saab is here, and he will also share some information that in Delhi still we have certain pockets that have very high AT&C loss reduction when BSCS took over in Delhi part of it. Now this is where the whole in Powerthon is, and that's where we went on to work around. What was the approach for AT&C loss reduction which has been taken up for this project at Bayana? This is completely funded by Ministry of Power, REC, There's been the nodal agency who's doing it, and JVVNL, the Jaipur Discom, is the key utility who's actually getting the fruits of this outcome. Now, what we say and how the approach was that there is something at the meter. Certain activities are at the meter, which we have to do, and certain activities are after the meter. Now, at the meter, I have smart meters, which is there working in. There's a non-smart meters working in. And with smart meters, I'm going to get a billing efficiencies. I'm getting a more control of the billing, which I'm able to do. I'm getting more better meter reading. But what about the other consumers who are not there on the smart meters? Can they also be brought in? Yes, though there was technology was adopted to look at how those abnormalities of the meter reading could be reduced and the billing can go up. When the billing goes up, certainly you have much better control to look in terms of getting the revenue. But then billing increase does not really mandate that you get a revenue also from there. And that's where we went on to define that this is the place where you look at the part of after the meter. How do you look at which consumers which will able to pay you in time, and who are the consumers which will not pay you in time, who are the consumers who are overdue to you, and how you can actually pull them into the due date, so that you are effectively bringing down the AT&C loss reduction, which we did over here and brought down by 20% in a matter of just 3 months of work. And so this is where the whole solutions look like. When some of the people I've given the brochure, and I will be handling over, my colleague is here, the brochure of what this revenue recovery work on, what is this AT&C law, and together we called as a solution, we call revenue protection and revenue assurance. Protection means where my pilferages are, if I able to plug them, and where my revenue losses are, if I can catch hold of them. Now, when we went to Jaipur, the first thing what they said was that if you are coming over here, Mr. Gupta, and your organization with the support of REC and ministry, but the success of the project lies in for smart meters. If you are able to tell me who are the people who are pilfering. Now, in our local term, we call this kaun katiya laga raha hai. Katiya kahan maar raha hai. If you are able to tell me that, then I will feel the success of the project. Otherwise, this is all you can pack up and go, right? Because it's not that this is a problem which we're handling for ages and we handle them. So I told them, you are doing this analysis, sending out the people, your vigilance team every month, right? And you give them a list of cases. You predominantly get them a cases list from the part of revenue perspective, not paying it. But I will show you the data for the consumers who are hooking in the network, just like a Bombay Stock Exchange does that part of it. And my dear friends, today they see the data like a Bombay Stock Exchange on their screen, where it says them every block level who are the consumer who are hooking and who are unhooking. And they have got 80% improvement in the list which we give them as a suspected consumers, which we call them as a bypass consumer or a service pal consumer. Bypass, those who are a longer phenomena happen. Service pal means just say we have a service pal road, we take a service pal road to avoid the traffic, and bypass is we take complete to avoid the entire journey to the city. Same way, bypass and service consumer were trying to identify. Look at this, my dear friends. This, I don't know whether this. This was the first set of smart meters which were being put around on 8,000 consumers. You will have them as micro level control to get the data to the last mile houses, 15 minutes interval data with the events which were very sporadic coming in. And each event has to correlate with the part of the consumption to arrive at the behavioral pattern of the customer. And then there were lot amount of meters which are still lying. 40,000 meters which will have the number will come Qatar mein hai, baad mein aayega 5 years back. We said, why should you be left alone? You should also be getting that. And there we had this technology, our homegrown, made in India, as our Modi Sahab says. And this has been built around to help them in their 40,000 non-smart meter consumers. Now I have data of non-smart meter consumers and the smart meter consumers both into same data platform to analyze and give them what we call as a revenue maximization and recovery. So we get to know who are the customers who are delaying out, who are the customers who are overdue. We predict, normally if you look at when the utility sends you a bill, it gives you 15 days to you to make payment. And then in that time, they only send you one SMS to actually go and pay the payment. And then after that, there's a reactive part, which you make a payment after your 15 days. So typically look around the cycle time of almost 1 month delay, which a utility phase, and there's a reactive phases. So then and the 1 month delay means there's a loss of revenue. How you can plug that up? That's what the entire platform does. And so the benefit was of this work that the customer indexing from the feeder to consumer, you can look at what my attachments are, but the DT to consumer indexing, gone. You will not able, they're not able, even the smart meters have been done for almost around 8 months, but then the indexing was off completely, and that's where we try to give them this information, same like a part of Bombay Exchange, every day, which are the indexes which are being customers who are right on the net, who are not there. I'll show you some screens on that. And then there was energy audit. Very important thing today, there's a pass of AMISP tenders have been come out, and this AMISP tender is a need for both the part of who are AMISP as well as part of utility. Now, how do you get to know whether my meters are performing? They are being doing, because all my money comes in the next 10 years on every pro rata basis. And that's where the AMI reporting platform has been built and been tried to handle this as a part of this journey. And this is what is the AMI reporting platform, completely AI driven, friends. And it does all the aspects. If you look around consumer indexing measurement to the consumer engagement, which is section 5 of your AMISP, how will my consumer interact, how will actually make them move on to smart meters, to the part of energy audit, which I was telling you right from thing, to the part of my reliability index, to the load management, power quality, loss analysis, theft, which is there, and to the level of revenue recovery, DT monitoring, consumer behavior, energy accounting. All being there on this platform, which is smart, we call it a smart meter reporting analytics platform. It's been driven by AI, and look, this is the way it contains all the features which have been required. Now, my AMSP does not have to worry about anything. My utility does not have to worry about anything. They have got all the data, because it's just not the MDM data coming system. It's an MDM data, OMS data, payment data, revenue data, because you're looking at part of accounting to be done, you're looking at part of revenue collection being done, you're looking at part of my outages have to be done, and this is where it's trying to bring the data through a part of API, not disturbing the ecosystem of the utility right now what is there. And this is where, when you look at dynamically, you're able to see at any instance what is where. So now AT&C loss we look at, it is aggregated to that month, plus every month level where we are. And it is trying to give you from that data where I'm standing it. And same we are able to look around my feeder to DT to consumer. The thing is, what is my feeder to DT energy loss, what is my DT to consumer energy loss, and then finding out who are the, now this is my gap which is giving my what, who are the feeders in the Bayana who are actually underloaded, overloaded perspective, and through them you are able to get the part of which DTs are impacting them, and then you look at part of what the energy gaps are coming. These are all dynamic. Nothing is, they are dynamic coming up from the part of, this data goes into cloud. And this data, which is all proprietary data, no models being used from the cloud, this is all built up by us, where it's trying to aggregate every 50 minutes interval data. There is almost 10 gigawatt or gigabyte of data which is getting into the cloud every hour into system. And that's what we model out to give you this data of thing. And then you are trying to look at who are the consumers on that. And this way you look at the consumers, who are the consumers who have energy gap, and then the percentage of that, and then you look at this consumer. Now you get to know from there itself, this is the consumer who on this particular has been the theft perspective. And you try to look at his areas have been there, he has not paid on time, payment data plus the part of the suspected behavior. All been put on same platform, wherein you get that part of utility, you're looking at multiple data sets. This is where the beauty of an AMI-SP platform which has been built around, and you're able to look at part of event data. Now over a DT underload and overload conditions, and there's top DTs which are there performing, top feeders were performing, top underperforming feeders and DT. And then the best thing is that once you have known the part of feeder to DT level of analysis, then you go part of which are stress DT, and finding them out who are the consumers who are actually doing the pilferage. Now there are plenty of events which are coming up. Those events are being put together as a part of the parameters behavior. Now you can have a day and night TOD, holiday actions, voltage profile, disconnecting a neutral current, hookup activity. Now hookup, how will you know hookup has happened for the part of it? Now neutral event can define to go for hookup, but neutral can be damaged because of the internal wiring part of it. But when a hookup is happening, that's the place where the neutral in that block, we're trying to hook it up, it will basically the current that block will rise. So we have to look at part of the consumption load profile and the event happening to say that, okay, this is the consumer who has been hooking up, and you are raising alert, so the utility person can go and say, okay, this is the consumer who are hooking up, or this consumer who hooked up now. So this is where the parameters are being defined, it's been set, and then you can have the suspected category output which comes out. This is the way like the Bombay Stock Exchange, it runs through this data. They click on this, they know by feeder wise who are the consumers. They do the download this information, and they can define the thresholds, what they want. They want to vary that, and then look at a perspective of abnormalities on this. I'm just running it out so that, and then you look at part of two things, very important. Service parallel and bypass. Now my service parallel is those connections which have been due for in the same day, those consumers who are not in same pattern. So on the TOD they are not working, and then on the part of there could be a event of load factors, hourly load factors, they are not actually built around. So then you can select those events which you want to look at, combination of them to identify your service parallel condition, and same way for the bypass consumers which comes in. So what I want to put across, and this is the way the whole suspected list comes in, and now this is the revenue recovery I was talking about. This is on the revenue recovery. Just put 30 seconds, I'll take over here. These are the beautiful parameters which you need to define, and these parameters, like who are the consumer debt faulters to me, consumers who are overdue payment to me, consumers who are borderline to me. This is where you're doing a predictive AI strategy to pull them into the due line, because with this you get to know who are the consumers, and then you do find out the rewarding consumers, and you apply them, and then you can check them who have been paying out. So this is where the whole debt faulters have been looked around, and then this is the outcome, my dear friends. Live outcome from the state of Rajasthan. This is improvement of 11 lakhs on the revenue, total all prediction which is 1.2 crores of benefit, overall reduction of AT&C by 20% at Bayana, proven by the ministry has taken the results over there. JVM has adopted results. Now this is where the whole benefit they are driving, and along with this benefit there is a benefit to the environment, sustainability benefit, which is very important part, and social benefit. Social benefit is reduced complaint, and the people are able to have a positive environment on the area, and reduce sustainability because the people who are reduce bill consumption. So the people have to go with the lower machines. Now the charging of the electricity for the machines become lower. People have to go by the vehicle, the fuel consumption is lower, and the printing of material, which is pages, that's reduced. So overall sustainability impact as a well part of society impact. Now this is something when I told to Mr. Rahul Dwivedi ji in a meeting at a CMD office, he said, Sumit, we never expected that our the smart meeting initiative also a sustainable benefit. Now this is something we try to bring in our AMISP, that how you can actually look at the carbon reductions which have been driving for this perspective. So these are all innovative thoughts which we try to bring in, and I end this session by saying that progressive outcome at Bayana actually is landing out a space where people can look for adopted transformation in Pan India. Thank you. Thanks a lot for this.